So with today's upcoming patch, we're of course getting the Summer Festival, and with it there will be a few known issues. For example, some text in the Zen market. Now straight up we can see we'll be getting a new mount, which is going to be the Radiant Rune Board. This is going to be in conjunction with the new mount we'll see in the Summer Festival. You'll freely be able to pick up just a simple rune board mount, the one with the purple glowing rune on the end. Assumably, as per the patch notes, the Zen market exclusive one will have a Radiant Rune. Now these rune board mounts are, indeed going to be essentially a copy and paste of the tensors floating disk, just with a different arts design, and assumably they'll have the same kind of spacebar power where you flip around. Now very oddly, the Zen market one has a combat power which is very similar to the tensors floating disk. Not exactly a copy and paste, but you can see how the tensors transformation will give you the ability of increasing your damage by 15%, increasing your speed, and increasing your ability scores. Whereas this new tensors, or this Radiant Rune Board, will increase your damage for 10 seconds, increase your forte, and increase your action point gain. I just don't really see this combat power ever being used apart from somebody who doesn't really have anything better or doesn't know how to play the game too well. Since as a DPS, you generally want to go with a combat power which has a really high magnitude. For example, the Giant Toad Tongue Lash. 3,000. You can't miss out on that just by increasing your damage by 15%, even on a cleric, or the Golden Touch with 3,000 magnitude. And then you have additionally Tunnel Vision with 3,000 magnitude. All three of those powers are in every way going to be far better at dealing just pure damage than your transformation from your tensors disc or the new one with the Radiant Rune Board. They've added some fancy description to that, and additionally they've made Sahaa a far better playing experience. Instead of when you go as a group and kick the ball out of bounds like happens so often, you can see just here the guy just goes and kicks it out of the bounds because why not? Rather than going in our goals, just kick the ball out of bounds and we all gotta wait again. You can see under the mini map there, get into your positions like 3, 2, 1, and it teleports you back here, and you have to restart that entire process that I just showed the clip there. Again, the ball pops down and you got to kick it around. With this patch notes, thankfully, instead of going out of bounds, it will just bounce back into play. However, there's still a situation where the ball can go over the goals and thus go out of bounds, and then you'll get that whole annoying reset thing. Now we can already see where we'll be getting the new rewards. With the rune board will come from Favors of Soon, the Dragonborn Grill Master from Fire Blossom Petals, and the Summary Fashion from the Fire Blossom Petals. Yes indeed, I haven't showcased the Summary Fashion, but you can see that set just here. In my opinion, the hat hats in Neverwinter really tend to just remove the hair, which just sucks. Now they have made it so, as you can see here, that it will work on Dragonborns, both male and female. Now the cost of this Radiant Rune Board mount, this new skinned rune board at legendary quality, is 4,000 Zen. That's a bit crazy. I personally don't see why, again, anybody would even go and pick it up. I didn't mention though that it does have an equip power of giving stamina regeneration. I believe there are other mounts out there that already have that, one of those snails. I don't know the exact values of what you will gain, so it could be useful for a tank. But moving on, they've placed the Fire Blossom Zealot in the Zen store as well, and that's going to be 1,500 Zen. So you could use your coupon and get it for free if you haven't done so already. That one from the On the Wings of Dragons. Additionally, you will now finally be able to exit your dungeons, Castle's Retreat and Vault of Stars after you've opened an end chest. So those of you without VIP won't end up getting stuck in that content after you've completed it. Now the Charm of the Serpent artifact is finally just getting its tooltip adjusted to actually say what it's giving. We can see on live right here, a Mythic Charm of the Serpent says it's giving a total of 16% additional damage increase to the target. However, This, as I've tested, is in fact only a 10% increase. So that could have been a little bit misleading for players out there. And indeed with the patch notes, they are fixing that. As we could see on the preview, Mythic now says 10%. But that does mean that the Charm of the Serpent now increases enemy damage taken by 2% at green instead of what it was, 4%. Now with the rise of Tiamat Trial, primarily in the Master Mode, there'll be a bunch of things that are being adjusted to make it a little bit more challenging. The way we would play it, for example, as a tank right here, is this initial group of adds, we would simply ignore them. So the tanks would just hold their aggro while everybody else just runs past them. Normally you can kill them within 15-30 seconds. People can die if they're a bit silly, but it just added a little bit of time to the fight. We can see I just go up here now since they've nearly killed all the supports, grab my gem and wait for Severin to spawn. And as soon as Severin does spawn, all those adds below on the steps would just despawn, and that was it. So with the patch notes, they will no longer despawn. You will have to go and kill them. Additionally, during this end phase, Tiamat's chest will actually now be considered a dragon, which is wonderful and allows us to actually stack damage buffs and get the payoff for doing so. For example, running your Dragon's Bane and also your Mighty Breaker ring for 10% damage against dragons. Additionally, they've added some safeguards so that the mini bosses won't be getting out of the combat area. There was some bug where you could get this demon mini boss to like teleport behind you and thus over the edge, and then you'd be dead. Along with that, instead of what we do here where we could essentially kill one dragon head and then call it a day, we're going to wait for our skulls, whether that be 5 minutes, since we only have one dragon head left, green, and he's fairly easy to just leave sitting there. So on the previous server we were testing this out, and yeah, we could totally just cheese it, waiting for our skulls to expire to then go on and be able to complete it. We did report this, and Lasser did say he would do something. So it appears they have finally added a timer when the aura will actually activate. Now this is only in master difficulty, so that you will still have that leniency in your normal mode, and you have all the time in the world to kill those dragon heads. Will be interesting to see exactly what that timer will be with regards to the dragon heads, how quickly you have to kill them or not, but again we'll see when we actually run the thing. Additionally, just a few adjustments there. The Apprentice Rune gauntlets can now be refined, and your different types of scrolls of life should now properly be usable from the defeat screen rather than having to navigate your inventory to find them. This was a bug I recently reported. And along with that, hunt modifiers, you should less likely get like bugged out where you can't actually click anything. Usually it happened when you were in other content dialogues or vendor screens, and that was causing them to overlap and mess up with each other. But that's about it for today's patch. I do have my fingers crossed that they will come out with the Companions of the Hall again this afternoon, but we shall see. With that said, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all of these channel members for the continued support, and if I presented this well, consider leaving the video a like, and if you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.